So he rubbed me the wrong way with that shit. Like, what you think this is? Like, we're gonna go wherever together. Like, and now you're trying to act too cool to wear a fucking mask? Like, you're a fucking joke. Whatever. I was annoyed with it. Fast forward, we finished the night. The next morning, I'm getting ready. He goes outside to walk Cupcake, and he spends over an hour talking to his friends on the phone. Like, I can't even with this. Okay, so long story long, he got on my nerves about the club. The next day, he's spending time on the, which I didn't mind too much, but it became a reoccurring theme throughout the weekend. That he's calling to talk to his friends about what we're doing, or just, you know, can't live without him. That and his job. Apparently, some of his really good friends are the people he works with, and oftentimes he like will volunteer for shit and then be complaining about work. And like, my whole shit is, I'm a problem solver. So if you give me a problem, my ass is gonna wanna solve it. If you don't want your problem solved, then keep your problems to yourself, or quit bitching about it. Like, the one thing is for you to tell me, but every time you sign up for an extra shift, I don't have to hear about it because you are choosing that. It's not like you are having to recoup money that you spent on this trip and that's why you're taking the extra shift. You just want to work because you want money. So if you want to work because you want money, then don't bitch about it. So that has been what he does, is bitch about taking more work, but he wants more work. So I'm like, quit bitching about it then. Okay, so he talks to his friends a lot. Okay, Vanessa, get over that shit. We're getting ready, we're gonna go have lunch, and one of the things that, okay, he's like, well, where do you want to go have lunch? I said, well, we plan on going to the beach, so let's pick somewhere that has open outdoor seating, number one, like a patio, because that's what I feel most comfortable in. But number two, we had my dog Cupcake, so we're like, in order for Cupcake to be able to be at the restaurant, we need to pick somewhere that has outside seating. And even picking a restaurant was such a debacle because he's like, well, where do you want to go? I said, I don't know, look up restaurants that have patios, give me options. Like, I was still getting ready at the time. Then we fast forward, we're in the car still looking for a place to go, but I'm also like driving. And I literally told him, just pick anywhere. Like, I don't have a preference, pick a place. Long story long, we finally end up at some place. He is feeling some type of way because he has anger issues, like point, period, blank. He has anger issues. He would admit that if he was here sitting next to me, he would admit that he has anger issues. So we get to the restaurant, he's feeling some type of way, just kind of like, I don't know, behaving like a fucking immature little bitch. And I try to loosen up the mood by just talking normally to him. The waiter comes, he had already told me, like, listen, I'm going to be paying for you. I'm going to pay for the room. I'm going to pay for any meals that we go and eat at. And I'm going to help you with the gas. And then he was going to buy my drinks if we go out. And then he's like, and fast food, I mean, if you want to pick it up, you can. If not, I'll pay for it. Literally, I think one time I paid for our fast food and another time I paid for my own. More times than not, he was offering to pay for me. At this time, we are sitting down at a restaurant. We're looking at the menus. He's looking at it. I'm looking at it. I'm trying to decide. Now, those of you who have been following me for a while, sorry, I just stopped doing makeup completely. Those of you who have been following me for, ow. Oh yeah, so we're at the restaurant, we're looking at the menu, and I'm trying to decide what I'm going to eat. If you have been around on the channel for a while, then you guys all freaking know that I've been on, not on a diet, but I've been you know, ever since last summer, I started changing the way I eat, etc. I guess changing my lifestyle. So I cannot just eat whatever, because normally the cheaper food is bad for you. And not saying I have to have the most expensive thing on the menu, but when the waiter comes, I do order a beer. And it was weird because he's like that he didn't want anything to drink. He didn't want a beer. When normally it's the opposite way around. Normally I'm the one who gets like water or whatever, and he's the one that gets like a drink. Well, I thought, you know, we're on vacation or like our little trip. I'm gonna get a beer. So I did grab a beer. He doesn't want anything. I'm like, you don't? And he's like, no. And he was acting like fucking weird. And I'm like, why the hell is he acting weird? Like, if anybody should be acting weird, I should be fucking acting weird, because the way you are behaving. He was just behaving weird, and I figured it was because of the argument of us trying to get to the damn restaurant to begin with. Anyways, I'm looking at the menu. I'm really not looking at prices, not because I assume I'm not going to pay. I'm just looking to see what looks appetizing, what I genuinely want to eat. And he's like, well, what are you gonna get? Blah, blah, blah. At this time, he was already having an attitude because he has issues. And he asked me what I'm gonna get, and I'm like, oh, I think I'm gonna get the pecan crusted flounder. I have been like debating by two things. So when he asked me, I told him, yeah, I think I'm gonna get the pecan crusted flounder. And as soon as I said that, he was just like, sitting back in his chair, like with a fucking attitude. I'm like, fuck, like how fucking old are you? Like, are you fucking serious right now? And then I looked at the menu and I saw it was $26.99. So like, yeah, that's fucking expensive, number one. But number two, like, what do you fucking expect? We're at a sit down restaurant. Like, when looking at the other prices of the stuff, like $19.99, $22. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty pricey no matter what I pick. And I was like, oh, I just noticed like the price or whatever. As soon as he said that or behaved that way, that's when I even looked at the price. And then I was like, oh, I hadn't even noticed. I can pick something else. All right, so I did finish the look off camera. As you guys could see through the video, I was struggling. My camera kept dying or running out of memory, so I finally let the bitch charge, and now I'm back. I think I was at the part where I was looking at the menu. I ended up picking something that was close to $30. He literally was throwing a damn fit. And so I was like, oh, like I didn't even think about it, like my bad. I obviously could tell by his reaction that he was unhappy. And then he busted out with like, yeah, like some things are just so expensive, like I would never buy that for myself, blah blah blah. And that's why I looked at the price. Like I was putting it all together. Like his attitude changed, and then he was saying some like passive aggressive like bullshit like about food being expensive and how he would never buy that for himself. Tell me why the fuck I look at the menu and the one thing he picked, which was like a grilled chicken sandwich, was like $10. I'm like, how are you gonna pick something that's $10? Literally, there was like two things on the menu that were even $10. But it's like, okay, I'm not gonna sit there and eat all those fries and all that bread. Like, bitch, that's not gonna happen. So I can't have that. I can't have the same $10 meal that you are about to have. So I tell him, you know what, like, it's fine. I'll just pay for my own damn food. You don't have to worry about it. I told him something about, like, he didn't have to worry about it, that I could pay for my own food. Like, don't even stress about it. And he's like, I mean, like, I said I would pay for you or whatever. I'm just like, but you're sitting there acting like a little bitch. Sitting there acting like a little bitch. Okay, so he really didn't tell me if he was gonna pay for me or not. Because I was telling him like, no, that's fine or whatever. The bill comes. And of course it's gonna be on one because we're sitting there together, blah, blah, blah. And more times than not, when it's only a few people, a lot of times they do put it on one bill and then you have to give them your card. So I was just gonna do that. I was gonna pull out my card and be like, this and this is mine. He's on his own. By the way, do you want my number? Like, for real. Anyways, so the bill comes and then he grabs it and he's like, oh, he's like, babe, it's only like $35. Like, yeah, I got that. Like, I got it. Mind you, I ended up not picking the $30 fish or whatever, or $26 fish, because I had told him I would choose something else, and then I choose something else, and he was still going on about how, I guess after we ordered it, about expensive food, like some things you just don't pay that much for, and blah, 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 blah. And that's when I was telling him, like, don't worry about it then. If it's causing you that much fucking stress, I'll pay for my own damn food. I'm perfectly capable of doing that. Then when the bill came and he saw it was $35, he's like, oh, it's just $35? Yeah, don't worry about it, babe. I got it, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? So we fought on the way to the restaurant. We fought at the restaurant. The car ride over was awkward as fuck. We're sitting at the restaurant. That's bad too. And we head to the beach. He claims to be a person that used to hold grudges but doesn't hold grudges anymore. Tell me why the fuck. He was in a bad attitude. And I thought it had already passed. Like, what happened at the restaurant? We ended on a good note. You ended up paying. And I don't know, actually, maybe this is where he got mad. He left the bill. The bill comes back for you to sign. The waiter gives me the bill. He's in the bathroom. And I put it there. And I was like, no, I'm not going to sign it. And then I know the waiter was waiting. And
I was like, you know what? I am going to sign it because this motherfucker doesn't know how to tip people.
Even when it's bad service, you still tip them. At least that's what I think. You're not going to tip them the same like if they gave you excellent service. But they're working like for $3 an hour. Like, your ass needs to tip them. And when I had gone out with him in the past, I had noticed, like, didn't even know how much to tip. I would have to tell him like it was like so much money, give so much money, like blah blah blah. So I'm like, nah, he's about to do this boy wrong. He's about to do this guy wrong. Like, he is working on this dog. It's not a dog. I don't know what it was. He's running around which way, this way and that way. He's apologized like 3 times because he knows he's not doing his best job. And I was just like, nah, he needs a good tip because he's working hard today, even if it's not for us. And so I decided to sign his tip thing. And I just wrote like $10 on there. And as I was signing his name, he was coming up. And then I was just like, oh, hey, he brought it back. I went ahead and signed for you or whatever. And I put it there, but I put it there where he can like see the tip. So he can, because I know he's going to look, so he can glance and see it, get the fuck over it, and move on. He sees it, and he's like, oh, okay. He sits down, he goes, oh, okay, yeah, that's cool, and looks down. He's like, yeah, I was going to leave him $10 anyways. And I was just like, okay, cool, good. So I just signed his shit. So that day we end up going to the beach, and literally it's just like awkward and silent. Like, we're both sitting there, but we're really not communicating with each other. Like, we're not being lovey-dovey because I've already told him, like, I don't like PDA. It's too cold to get in the water. So it's, I mean, we did go for a walk, but it was kind of like weird, if you will. And ironically, that night I got freaking sick. Almost forgot what I had for lunch. I had some like spicy shrimp. That's what I ended up going with. And later, even on our way to the beach, I was already feeling like my stomach was upset. And then we're at the beach and I'm still not feeling 100%. And it was weird because in my vlog I was talking about like, yo, like I have so much anxiety about the whole poop situation. Like I'm gonna have to poop in front of him, or there's a good possibility I'm gonna have to poop in front of him. And then fast forward, now I'm sick. So I'm like, oh no, it's gonna be like the worst pooping frenzy ever. And he's definitely gonna smell it. It's gonna be so bad. Blah, 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 blah. So tell me why I got freaking sick, but I wasn't vomiting and I wasn't like shitting it out. Like I wasn't pooping it out. And the only way I can describe it is like it was a tug of war, but like in my stomach. And I'm like, bitch, get out. Which way are you coming out? So I ended up crashing out that night, still sick to my stomach. I actually didn't poop till after I was home. And then I guess that was Saturday. And I mean, I got sick and I crashed out. So really there wasn't anything else to argue about or to have a disagreement about. And the next day we decided we are going to the beach again. And when we go to the beach, at some point, he goes in for like a kiss, but he was like standing and I was like sitting and kind of like under the umbrella, and he goes in for a kiss like, and as soon as he went in for a kiss, I'm just like I just like dissed him. For I guess a couple of reasons. I mean, the whole fact that I told him I don't like PDA, number one. Number two, like I'm really like not that attracted to him. Number two. And then number three, there were two guys that were at the beach, like on the little spot next to us. And I know they were watching us like the whole time we were there. So yeah. So I don't really think he liked that. And then the whole part I was telling you, like he's passive aggressive. So we're sitting there and it's a second day of us sitting awkwardly on the beach. Again, we went for a short walk where we like walked a good ways down with Cupcake and then brought her back. Hey, come on, get in the water. And then we're just sitting there, not getting in the water, not anything, and being like awkward AF. And while we're sitting there, at some point he starts talking about his old roommate and how the old roommate had a dog or had a pet, and basically by the time you knew it, it was more like it was his pet, that he was doing everything for the pet, and blah 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 blah. So since our trip had begun, he was being helpful with Cupcake. Like he did offer himself. But there were also times where I asked him, like, hey, I'm still getting ready. Do you want to walk Cupcake or do you want to just wait on me? Things like that. So he did walk my dog quite a bit. So he's telling me this, and I'm just like, all right, bet, bitch, bet. Like, nobody's asking you to do shit. Nobody's asking you to do shit. Like, I can take care of my dog. So I don't remember what part of the day it was, but whatever else my dog needed or whatever, I made sure to do it, even if he tried, because he did offer himself. Like, I went down to pick up a bowl and he acted like he was gonna pick up the same bowl before I grabbed it, but I grabbed it. Like, no, like, fuck you forever and always. That's all I have to say about that. To think that I fucking need you or that my dog fucking needs you, like, excuse me. Like, I have raised my dog for the past 8 fucking years, have taken care of her, have given her countless walks, have fed her. Like, dude, don't even. Don't fucking even. So that was that. Now it was time for us to come home, and somewhere along the way for us to come home, we needed to get gas. And his ass was acting some kind of sideways about it. And I asked him, I'm just like, so are you gonna get this or what? In reference to the gas. His bitch ass was like, oh no, I thought you could get it, and then just walks off. Like, really? Like, I don't mind because, I mean, he did pay for the majority of the trip. I'm not trying to sound like ungrateful, but it's the attitude behind it. Like, you're acting like a fucking little bitch. And I will tell you, like, that just doesn't fly with me. He was rude, he was short with me, he was silent, trying to give me the silent treatment. He claims not to hold grudges and to be upfront, but at the end of the day, like, I asked him, like, Sunday when we woke up, we had a disagreement, and we're on our way in to get something to eat and to go to the beach. And I'm asking him, I'm like, yo, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you tripping? Like, is it something I did? Like, what's going on? Just tell me. He claimed that nothing was going on, wouldn't fess up to anything being wrong or me doing anything. Like, he wouldn't say anything. He was just in the sour ass attitude. I said, well, if obviously something's wrong, but if you're gonna say nothing's wrong, well, then you need to do a better fucking job at hiding it. Like, his ass was pouting like a motherfucker, and it was just being annoying as fuck. Like, if you don't want anybody to ask, then fucking get your shit together and cover it up like a little bit better. I was so like fucking annoyed and triggered with his ass. Anyways, we come back home. The next day, he doesn't call or text me all day long. That night, he didn't even call to see if I made it home because I had dropped his ass off. Fucking scrub ass bitch. I come home, he doesn't tell me anything, like, hey, did you make it home, blah, blah, blah. The next day, he doesn't even give me a call or a text till about 9 something at night, I would say. I don't remember the exact time, but it was late evening already. And I answered it, and he wants to talk about how, no, he was just talking about the trip and blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, we definitely shouldn't have been on a trip together. Like, it was pretty bad. He's like, oh, well, there's some good times, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, yeah, I guess. And then he mentioned something about his friend. I was like, oh, you told your friend about the trip? What'd you tell him? He's like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I did tell him we went at each other. And I'm just like, so fucking annoying. Like, well, why do your friends have to know fucking everything? Like, as far as I'm concerned, nobody should know I exist. That's how I feel about the whole situation. But that conversation, and like the next day, I guess was Tuesday, we had another conversation where basically we were just fighting again about the whole situation. Like, I told him, like, yo, so much shit would have been so much easier or better if you would have just agreed to let me pull up the navigation and quit being like a fucking, I don't know, control freak. Or if you did want it on your phone, then fucking let me mount the phone so that I can see it. Because otherwise, you are there translating to me what it's saying instead of just fucking mounting it, and I can just drive, and then we don't even have to have a conversation about the GPS. So that was one thing. The other thing was, he was saying basically that I was being a bitch, and I was just like, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that I can't learn to be softer, but I'm a fucking bitch, so I guess you gotta decide, like, is that part of my personality that you can deal with? I don't know. I don't know. Currently, we're on very, very shaky terms. I think my whole thing is this whole panoramic that has been happening all over the world, keeping us indoors, etc., has led me to deal with people longer than ideally I would. AKA meaning he's not all that. Physically, his immaturity, like, he's not all that. He leaves a lot to be desired. That being said, I feel like now that things are opening up and shit, like, Aaron who? Aaron who? Because this past weekend, I got my second vaccination shot. The world is opening up. Charity Vanessa's done. The charity work that I put in, meaning giving people chances that didn't deserve a goddamn thing, much less a chance. I'm done. I'm done. Benito. 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 I don't know how this video is going to turn out. Obviously, I've had some complications along the way, but my hope is that it's good enough and that it makes sense. So, on that note, until next time, girl, bye!